Hey all, hopefully you guys can hear me. Sorry, I was having some technical difficulties and yeah, I was trying to get it so I could set up two screens, and after doing that for a while, I couldn't figure that out. So basically, I have it set up where my iPad is displaying the chat. I'll share the pages from my laptop. Jim is not here today. I believe he has decided that he does not want to do the show going further. I think we were looking at some different things for the show, and I'm super stubborn. So that is all on me. So I didn't play the intro. I'll have to figure out a new intro or whatnot. But I'm hoping you guys can hear me. I can see the little things around my face, so I'm hoping the sound is all good. So if you guys can just let me know, and then we can get started and hopefully not go in 10 minutes. And then you guys tell me, hey, you're muted. We can't hear you. All right. Snuggie says we're good. All right. Thank you. All right. So, yeah, bear with me because, I do feel for the people that are running the show. I'm usually a panelist on shows, and I like that because you sit back, you just add input, you add a few jokes, you have a nice conversation, you listen, all that nice stuff. But then when you have to deal with the pulling up, the reading, and it becomes a bit. So when you're doing it by yourself, it's a little overwhelming. And I have a headache coming on, so that's not the best of things right now either. But all right, so we're gonna pull up. Well, actually, for those of you that might be new, I did see a new name. Let's see. Well, I still have it where I can pull you guys up. We have Noah that was in here earlier. We had Nick Gear in here earlier. ACC was in here early. Teach Me How to Snuggie is still here. I saw him making stuff. David Feed, Derek Clay, and let's see. I told you guys I was going to be a little late, so I do apologize for that. Like I said, I was trying to figure out the electronics part, and it didn't work well, so I went with Plan B. Mr. Von Stugel is here, although 2-day-old egg has passed. Oh, okay. Dave is here. I did catch your show when you were interviewing Chubb. Great job on that. Johnny Rando is here. Robert Frank is a name that I'm not familiar with, so we appreciate you being here there, Robert Frank. And there, we'll see who else might show up. We are missing some of the usuals, but that's okay. We do have 9 people here that are watching. Hopefully we get a few more, but if not, that's okay because it'll make the chat a little easier to manage on my half. All right, so how we usually do this is we usually pull up some campaigns. I usually like to pull up campaigns that aren't funded yet. We take a look at the campaigns, kind of look at the art, how it's written, how it's set up, the price points, coming at it from a backer. I am not a creator. I am just a fan. And the title of it is Opinions Are Like, because just because they're my opinions doesn't mean that, they could be others' opinions. And there might be reasons why the creator has set up their campaign as such or done something as such that, hey, I'm just oftentimes actually looking at the campaign for the first time. And you guys can put in your input too, and we have like a nice discussion. I know there have been times in the past where I've had people that are in my chat that will look at the campaigns that we're looking at, and something does strike their fancy. um I know Nicholas Gear, I believe, did one last week, or was it the week before? The schedule's so off. I don't even know if I streamed last week. So yeah, no, I'm pretty sure we did last week, but not the week before. Or no, not last week because I was apple picking. That is right. But anyways, so yeah, opinions are like, just because I say something or think something doesn't necessarily mean that everybody does, but it is something that I know sometimes we've actually had creators look at their campaigns after they've watched the segment for their campaigns and have streamlined some things that we had some opinions on. So yeah, usually what I do is I pull up CG Tracker 2022 and then look at some of the campaigns that are on that list. That helps to make it a little bit easier for me as to which campaigns aren't funded, because it's pretty easy to see what needs a little help, what hasn't, and usually ones that have come out recently. Hey, Jeremy and Eric and good stuff. Thanks for joining. All right, so let me share the screen. Now, once I get in here, unfortunately, I'll be able to see the chat because I do have it up on my laptop, but I won't be able to pull up the chat. So I do apologize ahead for that. And let's see if we can share this, and I'm hoping you guys can see it. Wait for me to see it on YouTube on the laptop, and I'm pretty sure I turned the volume down, so we should not have any echoes. All right, so I have Create a Go app, and so this is createago.com, and that'll bring you just to Create a Go, and then there is a link where you can get into CG. I'm pretty sure it's pretty much just CG, but it is a specific page for CG. So I'm not sure if they're planning on doing something further with the website that they're just focusing on. All right, so then once I'm on 2022, I usually scroll all the way down to the bottom because those are the ones that have made the least amount of money and looks at like what might be needing some eyes. All right, so I see right at the bottom we have Cody Valiant, the legendary outlaw hero. Only has 4 backers and made $81. We could look at that one. And actually, you know what? Yeah, let's look at that one. We'll look at that one first. I'm hoping to hit about an hour mark here. We'll see how much time we have when we are done. That share screen is there. I can't having a hard time to click on the link to pull up the actual page. All right, so here is the page. Let's see, just checking in with you guys over there. Most of you are talking amongst yourself, so thank you all for joining. Oh, you know what? I don't even have it on live chat. Let me put that on live chat. All right, so I don't know if anybody caught Malin doing the Comicsgate live. I am glad that he did the Comicsgate live. I'm happy to see that. I know him and Shane have done a very similar setup in the past, where basically they have some creators with either they'll set it up a little bit differently, but they tell you at a time. Like I know Malin has done if you have sign up pages, he'll go over sign up pages. I know Bancroft has done it too. But if you have like live campaigns, you're in the funding period, you can come on, or just any campaigns, but they'll usually specify it, and they don't do them very often. It's been a while since I've seen one, so it was kind of nice to see Malin do that one. I know they're both pretty busy with fulfilling their books or whatnot, so but hopefully they'll kind of get on a little bit more frequency with seeing that because that is nice that they're able to do that so that way more eyes can see the campaigns that some people might not know about. All right, so let's see. We have some people saying that they have not heard of this book. Let's see, both Snuggie and Eric the Guapo are not super familiar with it. Eric says he's not very interested in the campaign based on this image. Derek Clay says he's heard of it but not seen much promotion for it. And yeah, so it's not seen very well. Now, I've seen the book before it was on John Malin's. I don't know where I've seen it to tell you the truth. I've seen him around a couple times since seeing him on John Malin, this Sean Fry. He has done other campaigns, which actually let's look at to see what else he has done. And hopefully I don't dox myself, but oh no, I'm not logged in. I would say even if I do, I think I'm pretty much under Amanda B anyways. So, all right. So he's done Youth Mob, 0 issue. Not familiar with that. Team Apex and Natural Lights, 0 issues. Not familiar with that. He has done some backing though. That's kind of nice to see. All right, so let's go back. So yeah, not familiar with any of his. Oh, we could just go to the tab. Not familiar with any of his past work. Not really seen him in the chats either. I'm not sure if you guys have. So yeah, but the one thing I did find out on Malin's stream about this Sean, he actually does this book with his dad. Like his dad and him are part of the creative team that makes up this book. I thought that was kind of a neat thing, and who wouldn't love to Well, I suppose if you don't like your dad, you wouldn't love to, but it's a nice thing to be working on with your father or mother or whomever if you get along and have a nice bonding time. So, all right, we're gonna scroll down. I didn't share the audio, so I suppose I can go back and do that. But so Cody Valiant Zero issue. Welcome to the world of the legendary outlaw hero Cody Valiant. This is Cody Valiant's first outing in the Stars Above, but the sixth book in the overall connected comic universes of Biff Bam Boom comics. I paused there because it says it's the sixth book, but he only had this is the third campaign. I apologize if you hear noises. My cat's clawing at the door. Um, so I'm like, okay, where's the other one? This is already confusing me as where I should jump on. But they do say it's the first book for Cody Valiant. So okay. The Cody Valiant Zero Issues is the ultimate sci-fi space western that you never know you needed to read. This project is a love letter to all the major sci-fi writers, artists, directors, and fans of this genre. Cody Valiant is a character that feels old but brand new at the same time. He has been just a fun character to write, and the energy behind him has been infectious from everyone that has seen his pages and his animation short. Hopeful one day he will take his place as part of a pop culture and grow his own cult like following. Um, I know. All right, so it's a little difficult for me to. They just say it's sci-fi, right? Like I don't quite get a sense of what the book is with that. I get a sense that they want the book to be great and they think the book is great, but really what's the book about? I don't know if you guys see that. All right. So, let's see. We're just going to look over at the chat real quick before I move on. I got an erection said definitely not imagery I find appealing in this. Jim Cox asks if it's even CG. He was on John Malin's the other night. I'm assuming so. I think he did say that he's been around for quite a while. Although, like I said, I haven't really seen him chit-chatting too much. Eric is picking on me. It's such a girly thing to say. You know what, Eric? I am a girl. And happy Sunday from Phil with 2 L's. Good to see you. All right. So, yeah, from that, I'm not really getting much. What is it? Although the images make it look kind of trippy. So there's the full image of what we saw in the upper image, and it's this gentleman. He looks very 80s, the what's the American Hero haircut? Like looks like the American Hero guy, but he's got a bunch of guns facing him. All right, so it's a 32-page comic that will explore the final frontier of 3B comic space and learn all about legendary outlaw hero while meeting cool, unique alien species. Get ready to help Cody throw hands with an intergalactic bar brawl against one of the most feared alien biker gangs in the universe called the Oinks from Planet Penn. All right, so this seems a little more too sci-fi for me to be interested. So there was an animated I won't play this. I didn't do the sound, but there was an animated short that was kind of interesting that they did it. Although I find it a little weird that I'm sure they put a lot of time and effort into this animated short, but I don't know if they're doing it for a greater thing cuz you're looking at still images on pages for a comic book. You're not looking at um an animated short. So maybe they're doing something else, but I think they also said that uh there's some animation history in the team, so maybe somebody really liked doing it. Now, these images, I'm assuming this is an interior page, are interesting. They're kind of like lifelike, but not. It's almost like a bad filter over real images, or I don't know. I don't quite get the changing of the colors from like the different lines. It's all kind of trippy to me. Um, I almost want to think this is almost like an AI art thing. Uh, I don't know. It's different. It's definitely a different kind of thing. Oh, there's the alien bikers. Huh. So the art is almost a little too out there for my taste, but I could see where someone might like it. And like, sci-fi like this isn't completely up my alley. I do kind of like the, I don't know if it's broken glass or whatever image, these little things that look like broken glass around it. And I do like the way that the action words are in there, but it almost seems like it's really computer generated. There's lots of glass breaking in this comic, I guess. All right, so it doesn't look like there are any lettered pages, which don't say much about or don't tell you much about what the lettering looks like or how the story is going to read for those that have a little bit more interest in that. Now, okay, so it also says, also during this campaign, you'll get all of the other titles in the 3B Comics universe. Interstellar Zero Issue, which is a mature 32-page sci-fi romance comic. He has some typos in this because here's a closing of that, but he doesn't have another one for that. But anyways, all right. So, and then I noticed above there's a capitalization that shouldn't necessarily be there. And not that I'm the perfect with my grammar, but those did stick out to me. All right, so he does have quite a bit of videos. I don't know if you all want to look at the videos, and I'll actually uh, catch up with the chat while we see if anybody really wants me to stop sharing so we can get the sound and watch the video, which he did not have a video in the up top part when he was speaking with John Malin, but it looks like I did just see one. So, yeah, Jeremy agrees with me. Sci-fi alone is very vague. Johnny Rando says no story, no thank you. Okay, so I wasn't the only one that kind of missed what it was. Besides, it was he a bounty hunter and then he's just kind of going through space and then gets in trouble with a biker group? I think is kind of what I got from it, which that alone doesn't snag me. Jeremy says it isn't really doing, the art isn't really doing it for him. Eric's not seeing it. Von Stugel says it's a mess. I'm not sure if he's referring to something specific or if he's being just a little in general. Derek says this is definitely avant-garde. This is what the Noah points out. This is what the Beatles saw in 1967. Eric says there's no flow with the channels. The camera angles almost seem the same, and most of the images on the panels. All right, so there's no flow with the panels. The camera angles are almost the same, and most of the images in the panels are from the waist up. Yeah, it does seem like a bad acid trip. The colors are kind of definitely funky. David Feed says it is interesting, but a bit too trippy. Yeah, it is like the images, like they kind of make you want to look at the images, but as far as telling a story, I don't see it grabbing me. All right, so looks like we're having some no's about the video. All right, so we went all the way down. Let's look to see how much. So he has a $500 goal. He's only at 44% of his goal. He's made $221 with 8 backers. So not very many people have backed him thus far. Hopefully he does find the audience that really likes this and he gets the remaining, what, $379? He did just launch though. I'm pretty sure it was this past week. He's at 25 days left. It is not his second 30. It is his first 30. And so we have a Cody and Interstellar bundle. Looks like it might be 2 books. So yeah, both 0 issues. So that's $30. It ships worldwide. That's kind of nice because there are some campaigns that are coming up that you can only keep in the country that you're in. Like US will only stay in the US. All right, so $30, 2 books. United States $10, which pretty standard. I like the $10 mark. We'll do Australia. Australia's 20, which is actually a little less than some campaigns that I see because I think 25 tends to be the going norm these days. All right, so the featured tier is 2 books. Then you have a digital comic, which is $7. So those of you that might be interested in it, but don't want to invest too much, here's the digital comic that's $70. $70. That's $7. And of course, oh, it's telling me it'll do an Indiegogo tip on a digital comic too. Dang it! Watch out for those digital tips. So $7 for the digital. You don't have to pay for the shipping. Looks like you can get the individual books. So even though it's a one book saying it's Cody Valiant, you can get the digital for Interstellar separate. You can get the digital space comic bundle, so both of the digital comics for 14. You can get the Interstellar Zero issue number 1 by itself. Wait a second. I'm sure it's probably there, but it's kind of weird how it's last. Okay, so we have the the campaign for Cody Valiant. You can get it with something. You can get it digitally. You can get the other book digitally. You can get both digitally. You can get the other book in physical format, but here we go. The one that the campaign's for is like one of the last tiers to actually be able to back. Well, maybe not last because it's probably a lot more, but it's not one of the first ones, which is interesting. But probably can't change that now, and that's just I guess a preference. There's really nothing wrong with it. So then we also have signed. Wait a second. Okay, so yeah, this kind of weird how it's. I don't know if you can pick how it's like. Which is your first tier, second tier? Because he has his physical book for the campaign that is a little bit later. You can get the signed issue of Interstellar, but I haven't seen a signed issue for Cody Valiant yet. And then it starts getting into some merch. Then you get the signed bundle. You get the complete digital library. You get a collector's box, which I'm assuming has a bunch of stuff, and he's doing the box like everybody else is, which kind of neat in a way. Although I'm of the type that once I see too much of something, I'm like, this is old now. But I have gotten some really cool boxes that I have loved in the past. Those being Aerith Saga. I like the fact that there's a tape on it. That's something that can easily be displayed after you've done whatever you wanted to do with the comic. And then the Dwarfs versus Lions, and that's just more because it's the in jokes that are with it, or the in knowing. You have people that are in the chat that are gracing those covers and stuff like that. So yeah, he does not have a signed individual Cody Valiant issue 0 available. And that is what the oh, I guess it's right there. No, because it does say it's signed. Signed copy of Cody Valiant. So then what is so is this one okay, I guess you can only get the option of the Interstellar Zero issue not signed because it doesn't say it's signed here. But oops, I'm going down for the shipping. But you can get it a separate tier for signed. Maybe somebody realized that it wasn't an option because here it is signed Interstellar Zero issue and they wanted it signed, so he created that tier. I suppose that could be an option. All right, so there's that one. Don't know much about the story. The tiers are kind of like they're offered. The stuff is offered, but it is kind of a weird order that I'm seeing. All right, let's go to the chat. And so Eric the Guapo says the concept sounds fun and goofy, but the art isn't pulling him in. Let's see. Jeremy says that art isn't. No, art. I already said that. Sorry. Oh, I went back too far. Eric Guapo says no dynamic poses either. Very, very bland. The story is hard to follow from panel to panel from Derek. And Eric Guapo points out he doesn't display cardboard unless it's a short box. All right. Eric doesn't like anything extra. He just likes the book. Snacky points out that it's $5 extra for a signed copy. Is that true? So there's a 0 issue, which is not signed, I'm pretty sure. Oh, it does say graphic language and nudity for mature readers only. Wait, is this the one that he said was a romance? I thought that was a different thing. Whoops. I'll go down and look at that after, once we solve the $5 thing. All right. So then it's signed for 20. Yeah, $5 for a signature. Now I'm wondering who does the signature? The whole team? Just Sean? Is it all? I don't know. All right, so now that romance, because they talked about a romance book at the bottom of this, right? Is that Interstellar? Oh, I think that's Sean. I didn't go all the way down. Where did I stop? What? Okay. Well, that's kind of weird. There's way more. There's way more, and I thought this was it, because what we need and what you get. Oh yeah, so Interstellar 0 issue is a mature sci-fi romance comic. Okay, so that is the comic it referenced. So it looks like there's the whole library. Some advertisement. Thinking that's a book. That's pretty trippy. Campaign items that you get. Signed copy, digital copies. All right, so a lot of these images are, I don't know if they're overkill. They seem kind of overkill to me. The digital version is the main story, but the physical has a bunch of extra stuff like pinups and extra story content. And there's a bigger picture of the box. Get the Cody Valiant collector's box here with all the 6 comics inside with prints, buttons, and other collectibles. Looks like that might be the team. I think he said on mailings that this gentleman over here was his dad. And then a father's tale, or a father's tell. So Sean Fry is the cover artist, and co-creator that loved comics through the 80s and 90s, started the dream of creating his own comics, but lived in a time where it was much harder to create indie books, but always worked in the art field, honing his art craft. And he put the dream aside until years later, joined forces with his son to reignite his passion to create comics again. Oh, the father is F. Sean Fry, and then Sean Fry, creator, writer, editor, and artist of Biff Bam Boom Comics. Been working on this project since he was 12. Wanted to create a variety of unique heroes that could establish their legacy and represent the future generations of comic book lovers. He took what he viewed as a hobby and decided to create a business out of it. There's more about them. There's risks and challenges. Yeah, it seems kind of a lot of images down here that, and I thought that was the end. Oops. All right. So Johnny Rando points out that he prefers his book to be unsigned. I actually like signed books, but you do have people that are one side or the other. Oh. David Feed points out that Robert Frank's comment will accompany us for the whole stream until Amanda gets. I didn't realize I was still showing that. Let me cycle back. Hide that comment. Come back here. Sorry about that. All right. So yeah, Jeremy points out $5 for a signature from a creator that isn't established at all. That's a hard pass. It is a harder sell. You're right. They all hold one pen at the same time and try to do all their signatures at once. Okay, Eric. All right, so I think we're done there. We can go back to that was the legendary outlaw hero Cody Valiant with Sean Fry, and then he teams up with his dad to produce this comic. They are at 44% of $500 Flex goal. They're only like 6 days in, so I don't foresee them having an issue at least getting their goal. Hopefully they do get more. Those of you that might find it interesting enough to back it, they did have the physical that was starting point of was it $15, and then it had a $10 shipping, and then you could get the digital for either books because there are 2 books on this campaign for $7 each. So we will go back to Critico. And did we look at Elixir? Oh, that's one of those things that having co-hosts is good for because I have such a bad memory. We'll click on it. I don't think we did. Elixir number 1, The Last Days of Death. Yeah, this is not coming to me. Okay. So this, I know I'm familiar with this, although I have not looked at the campaign. This is from Armand Nassim. I think he goes by Treehouse something or other. If someone in the chat wants to further elaborate or correct me on that. But he wanted to get on Bancroft's channel to launch, and Bancroft asked him basically how many signups he had on his signups page, and it wasn't quite 100 yet. So he told him that he can launch on his channel once he reached 100. And he did, and he launched on Bancroft's channel, and this is it. He just launched not that long ago. This is the first 30, so he's 22 days left. So it sounds like 9 days ago ish. He launched there. He has 22 backers, 780 out of a $500 goal. So he has made goal. He will be producing this comic as long as there are no other road bumps, speed bumps to deter him. And Eric the Guapo says they won't have enough funds to make that book. $500 is not enough. Well, that is kind of interesting because you're right. It probably takes way more than $500 to produce a book. Although this project and the project we just looked at both had a $500 goal. I wonder if they just keep it low just to be able to fund, and then I wonder if they'll have to cut corners or go into debt or what their plan is going forward to make sure the backers get the book. I guess there could be a whole wide things being done to do this. It's probably a little bit easier for those that are artists to do it because you're not necessarily paying somebody for the art if you're doing it all yourself. Because I think the art is probably one of the more pricier points besides the shipping and packaging and shipping or printing and shipping that is there. Now this comic is 100% complete, 36 pages, full color, files are ready or print ready. Cover gallery. So he's just doing a whole bunch of pictures. He has no writing here. All right, cover gallery, Indiegogo. The Femme Fatales cover. That's interesting. Not something that necessarily jumps off the page of being a favorite of mine, but I can see where others would like it. That one's interesting. That one's by Leah Kemp for Angel. You are a day one backer. There's a keychain, looks like an acrylic keychain that's 2 inches tall. Here's some preview pages without the lettering. The sequentials look decent. Like I can see a story and they're jumping right into some action to hopefully entice some people. Oh, looks like there's some tentacle looking action in here. Skipping ahead to page 18. Wow, there's a lot of little panels in here. I guess he wants to make sure he's telling some story to get everything in there because, what are we looking at for panels here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 panels on one page. And then we're going down to 10, another 11 panels. Apparently likes 11. All right, so the summary. Cyrus is a legendary monster hunter. Fueled by his anger, he has a deep hatred of monsters and sorry, I got distracted. Deep from where I was reading. Deep hatred of monsters and everything they represent. Angels, demons, they're all the same to him. All monsters. He's been hunting a long time and he's damn good at it. But this time is different. There's something different in the air. A new monster that has been born into the physical plane, the embodiment of death, an original force of the universe, and it wants violence, conquest, and to end the universe. Cyrus gets stuck in the middle of a war he wants no part of, but to reunite with his family he is willing to do whatever it takes, no matter how many monsters he must go through. And so Cyrus' greatest hunt begins, and these could be the last days of death. Okay, that makes it sound interesting, at least to me. Some early sketches. There's Armand. We got Pack, which is the artist. Rain is the colorist. Marco Della Verte is the letterer. Ashley Early is the editor. Now, I am not familiar with any of these people, except for Aman that I've seen around a little bit, and then I've heard him talking about this book prior to launch, so I am familiar that Pack is his artist. But aside from that, I'm not familiar with anything. Issue 1 covers. The main cover. All right, so what do we look at up here? There's the issue 1 covers. Because here are some covers that he went into first, which I would have thought, to me, I would prefer to see more of what the story's about before you start getting into covers. So yeah, there's 2 covers up here, but those are not the covers down here. So I'm a little confused with that. I'm not sure if that confuses anyone else. You got an interesting assortment of covers, although some might say too much. Okay. Elixir of Immortality complete box. So he's doing another box. Deepest discount. So it's originally $200 value. They're selling it for $125. So it comes with all 7 covers of issue number 1. So there's 7 different covers. Includes metal, which metal was, what was metal? Metal, 1 of 30. I don't know what metal is. Metal. Maybe it's a metal print. And it's limited run, 1 of 30. And it looks like that might be a limited run. I don't know. I guess your guess is as good as mine on that one. All right, so then collector's box, a t-shirt, black and white, or black ink on white shirt, all sizes available. All sizes meaning up to, like, you can do a 7X if you really wanted to. Your name on the thank you page in our immortal gratitude. So 7 issues, a box, and the t-shirt is what you physically get. So what are we looking at? So you're looking at a $15 book. All right, someone quickly do the math of 15 times 7. See what that totals to see what it is for the box set. All right, we're going to go to the chat before I start looking more at the tiers. So Jeremy points out that the 500 gold does make him a little bit nervous. And then Derek points out it depends on how far along the book is in production. This one, as stated previously, was all done and it is print ready. So Eric Guapo points out that shipping alone will eat that $500 up. Jim points out too many people that he's never heard of. These folks need to learn to make the rounds and become known in these parts. Nicholas Greer points out Tin Soldier is largely produced out of his own pocket. The campaign is more about me finding an audience and getting the book out there. Might be what they're trying to do. Eric wonders what's up with the panel grids. They're a little different. Derek points out it's too much of an intro. It needs to be shortened. Jeremy says it's a pretty good description, right? I did like the description, but that should be way much higher on the campaign page, in my opinion. So Eric says he looks at the stuffs and thinks, why should I back this when I can get something from Lepresti, Nolan, or Roquefort? I don't think, you're looking for doesn't look like a bad project to me. It just doesn't fit my taste per se. So Jim Cox says he thinks it's actually not bad for the description. Could be shorter, but that's definitely half decent. Too many words. All right, Derek points out, I'm telling you, the best thing Murph and I did prior to launch was talk to the backers. Mr. Von Stugel says, after reading Creepsters, the number of panels seems normal. Did NASA put a lot of panels in Creepsters? All right, Stato stopping in to say hi to me and hi to the chat. Hey, Stato, have a good day. Oh, Mo is here. Hail the Mo. And he says he thinks it's a metal cover. Okay, that could make much more sense, although it doesn't say it anywhere. Eric says immortal gratitude. That mean they are immortals? Did I read it wrong? It did say immortals, did it not? I could have read it wrong though. I think they probably meant another. Yeah, it is immortal. Maybe that's intentional. Maybe they meant another word. Who knows? All right. So 15 books, 7 books times $15 is 21. I'm assuming it means 210. So that is a bit of a savings. I was just trying to see if you put all 7 books and you charge them full price, what that puts at a price. So, yeah, I guess you are saving if you get the box set. Mobig says he already made the book. It was on Kickstarter first. Oh, that could explain why it was emphasizing the Indiegogo exclusive covers and why there are so many covers, because he probably also has the other covers that are on Kickstarter carrying over to here. Now, Jim does point out that you won't get a Nolan, Lepresti, or Rocafort book for $15. Now, this was also, wait, how many pages was this? Did he say? Maybe he didn't even say, to tell you the truth. Anybody remember if I read it? Here's the story. Doesn't say the details. Oh, 36 pages. Okay, it's a good size book. Or okay, because I think what the smallest is probably 32 pages. So that $15 for 36 pages is a decent price in my mind. Uh, uh, all right, so let's see. Creepsters was the artist's first book, so we'll give him a pass, says Von Stugel. And they're talking about creators versus small creators and large creators. Sorry, I will read that though. Let me go back to the beginning of the conversation. So, as Jim said, you won't get a Nolan the Prestia Roquefort book for $15. And then Eric the Guapo comes back saying that he won't get this book for $15 either. And then Jim called and said, right, share curmudgeon, which I suppose I don't have to read that one. And then Derek Clay points out that if that's the case, small creators don't stand a chance. But Eric does point out, saying that small creators have a chance if they're up to par. Joe Sontag being an example, and 656 being another one. Robert Frank is pointing out that he's tired of backing ex pros and is more interested in helping the little guys, as long as it's a book that interests me. And actually, based on that, I don't know if you guys caught the chat last night. We were talking about the buy one back one hashtag that's kind of going around. Um, I know that I've backed quite a few books. I'm not quite sure what number I'm on at the moment. 146 maybe? I don't know. 150ish maybe. Um, Now, there are some former pros that I have yet to back. So I'm definitely not one of those people that are only backing the pros. I'm backing based on what kind of calls to me, if it's something I think I like, or if I'm seeing them in the chat. If I'm seeing a person in the chat, they seem excited about the book, it's piquing my interest, getting me excited about the book, or if others are excited about the book, and I'm like, oh, this sounds interesting enough that I want to know what people are talking about. And that's usually why I back the books, or as a thank you for, hey, I'm hanging out in your chat saying hi, and rather than throwing super chats at you or whatever, I'm backing your book to see what it's about, because it does sound interesting enough. So I do back a gambit of books. And yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of competition out there, and I can't say that I'm gonna back 2 books at the same time, one from a bigger creator, one from an older creator or newer creator, but you definitely have to have a project that appeals to someone. And while I'm not saying that this project is something that isn't appealing, because I can see where it would appeal to people, it's just not something that is mine. But I guess I'm not a very big sci-fi backer. I prefer something that's a little bit more something that can happen in the real world type thing. Maybe a little bit of some mystery or magic or something like that. But going overboard, it's not completely something I enjoy. Um, but I will give a lot of books a thing. Like there are some books that I back that are definitely major sci-fi ones. Like you got Infinite Tales by Chris Fisk. The book looked gorgeous. It just wasn't quite a subject that uh, drew me in. Like it was a good price. It was a good product. The art was good. The story was decent. But it wasn't one that was. And the only reason why I say the story was decent is because it isn't something that appeals to me so much. I could see it appealing to someone that might be more into Lord of the Rings or Dungeons and Dragons and just more high fantasy like that. Uh, let's see. So let's say Derek Clay points out that he's tired of hearing about the same people. Actually, let me because we're probably gonna wrap this back up. So let me stop sharing unless there's actually, we'll just go back to, yeah, we'll stop sharing. We'll go back to StreamYard so I can see you guys. So I can actually pull up the things because we are getting close to that hour mark. So yeah, so this is a comment that we left out. So Robert Frank said he's tired of backing the X-Pros and more interested in helping the little guy as long as the book that interests me. So yeah, we went on about that. Uh, as you know, I do what I want. All right, so let's see. Let's see. Not Michael. Derek points out that many creators are up to par, but the campaign can ruin the interest for people. I agree. And then you also have like people, the creators that might not be so excited about their project, and the excitement's contagious. If you're not excited about your project, it's not getting into the eyes of people that should be seeing it. We all agree that the more eyes that see it, the better, because it might be a niche comic that will appeal to 1 out of 5 people, but if you're only going to 5 people, that one person's gonna back it. You need to see, more multiples than 5 people to get the backers that you want. My only issue with the buy one, back one is what's the difference between buying one and backing one? I'm pretty sure there's a joke there that's going over my head, Mo, and I apologize. I did say I have, the beginnings of a headache, so that could be why. Hopefully others got that joke because Mo is really good with the jokes. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he said that's a Von Stugel comment earlier. Um, Tired of hearing about the same people. There are many others that stand out as well. Mo comes back exactly, Dirk. It's like tuning into one of your music shows, and it's always rush, rush, rush. Jim points out that it's the people not talked about need to make themselves the one who is talked about. Although, gotta keep beware because drama, you'll be talked about, but it's not exactly the best thing. Like I know there's oftentimes the drama. Well, I like knowing what's going on for the overview. It is kind of cringy for the people that are involved in the drama, at least for me, because you know what? Depending on the kind of drama, like, are you trustworthy to have my information when I backed? Are you in the wrong and you're just making things up? Are you acting childish? Are you, those are reasons that I'm like, not exactly backing that creator. Um, Snuggy points out that new creators need to promote and mix up in the chat in addition to making a book people want to back. I agree. Yep. And you can't just say hi in the chat, run away, and next thing you know, you have a book that comes out. Although I suppose if you say hi in the chat for many months leading up to it, although you probably should be talking about your book, although don't come in as hot as Noah did. Um, build up that hype, build up the friendship, the camaraderie, and then you'll have the people that'll help. Eric Guapo says, I have refined my list to creators who have professional level of art and storytelling, have filled before, and are in a genre I enjoy. So my 2-year anniversary pretty much just passed. I've been in CG for 2 years. And not that I'm not open to backing new creators, because I definitely still am, but I am definitely getting to the point where I'm finding out which genres I enjoy. Because I know some of you are aware of that. I didn't back comics before getting into CG. Um, Once I started being in CG, hearing about the different stories, I was always a reader, but not of comics. So finding the stories and finding them interesting and what compels me to read them, like, hey, I want to know more about this character. I want to know more about where this goes, or I want to know what happens. Um, there was actually, we won't go into the campaign today. Maybe we will next week or however it turns out. But there was a campaign from one of the gentlemen that was on the panel with John Malin for Comicsgate Live. Uh, Hollow something. I don't know if anybody in the chat can remind me what it was, but I believe it was the name of a town. And on their campaign, they had the first, I don't even know how many pages. I'm pretty sure it was more than 5, but they had the first several pages on their campaign. And while the art wasn't something that technically reached out to me, and it was like aliens, because there was like this alien that was jumping out of a human body, like ripping it in half, type of thing. So well, that didn't the subject matter didn't grip me. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna read because it had the word bubbles on it. So I was reading it, and I liked the story. It went to a point where it was like a cliffhanger, and I'm like, hey, I want to know what happens. I'm pretty sure there's a digital tier on there, and I am kind of on the fence about backing the digital tier or not, because I want to see what happens. But it is nice that you're finding genres that you enjoy, or you're including things in the campaign to catch people's attention, but you're not overdoing it with ads and videos and merch that you know you might not quite have the following for just yet. Snuggy says he'll back anything that looks good for him. Let's see. Jim points out, make your product better. Be in the book or the YouTube channels, both, etc. Yeah, and then you also get the debate as to creating a channel. Like most people say, create your channel, work on your channel, build your network, whatever. I think these days you don't necessarily have to have a channel, but you need to be part of a channel. Because there's been times when you've had like 8 YouTube shows being on, and I subscribe to quite a few CG channels. I don't necessarily watch them all. I'll lurk, I'll do whatever. I'll whatever is whom I want to watch at the most of the time that it comes on. So it is good to have the variety, but you're getting a lot of congestion. Let's just put it that way. So you don't necessarily have to have a channel unless you want a channel. I'm not saying don't start a channel, because sometimes you can have a lot of fun with your own channel and make it your own, and then create or gather around the friends that you prefer to hang out with, rather than being part of any of the other stuff that might be a little bit more drama related, or topics that you don't want to cover, because maybe you don't want to cover mainstream stuff. You want to cover something else. So, you know, just saying. Hey, Blake, thanks for joining. Eric's pointing out that it takes time to get exposure. People saying hi to Blake. Hicks Villain is here. Thanks for joining us, Hicks Villain, although I am getting ready to end very shortly. Jim is saying that I think Derek came back and said a comment that Jim said hurts. So, Derek Clay, it shouldn't. It's common sense. If you want any business to do better, you make your product better and market better. That is sure. Well, I won't shill patches for George. I don't have any patches to shill. Um, hey George, if you're watching on the replay. And then Eric is pointing out, to be honest, many creators in CG are very average, and some are just not good. I have backed many books that seem like the art was rushed or unfinished and all of the typos. That's probably where a editor, and there has been lots of comments about a need for an editor, are important. Um, Robert does come back saying a lot of creators are working on a much smaller budget, which is correct. Um, Eric's pointing out that he doesn't care about the budget. I'm treating all these creators as professionals. If you want me to back your book, then have the art that is on this level of prose and hire a damn editor. Skip is in the chat. Hey, Skip. I think I saw Mrs. Good Stuff. Yes, Mrs. Good Stuff. Hello. All right. So before we end, oh, hi, Nefarious. Why is everybody coming in at the end, people? All right. So I have quick question, which I was thinking would be a decent way to at least add to the show. If you guys are like, what's the last good book you read, or any good books you read? Because it is opinions. Like, what have you guys received recently that you liked? And then maybe what have you backed recently that you're like most excited for? Like, you don't necessarily have if you're not like super excited for it, you don't have to share whatever, but I figure we'll end the show that way. Anything that we might be looking forward to. Also kind of, if somebody's watching this, they'll look at the suggestions of what you've read that you like, that maybe they'll be like, hey, maybe I should check out that book too. So if anybody's had any of those suggestions. All right. So Eric points out that the Alex Ross Fantastic Four was pretty good. I'm assuming it's Fantastic Four title, which was recently done by Fantastic Four. Nicholas Gear says he just got around to reading Ultra Star and he really enjoyed it. I didn't mind the story per se. The book was needed a little bit more in my opinion. The art could have used a little bit more in my opinion. But yeah, the story itself I pretty much liked. Nefarious is looking forward to the Frog Tea campaign. That has gained some momentum and looks pretty cool. Afterline is late, but that's okay. ACC is looking forward to Godlike and Death, Death, Death. I'm not sure if we have what's the latest updates on Godlike and Death, Death, Death are, like where they are in the process, or if we still have a bit more of a wait for them. Frog G says, Snuggy says Frog G does look good. Mr. Von Stugel just read God's Hand. It was all right. I heard good things about God's Hand, and I actually just got mine 2 days ago. I haven't taken a picture of it. I need to. But it came with Justice City Chronicles, so that one will be cool. Eric Guapo says Roach Balls was good. That is another book I have yet to read. It is in my pile. Johnny Rando says the last book he received was Fiendish, which was really good. My 7-year-old cousin loved it, and now she's obsessed. Well, hopefully back to Fiendish #2 that is out. I did see it just made another milestone. It made 110,000 today because I believe Ethan, well, not necessarily because of Ethan, but Ethan did a tweet saying it just had, just a couple $100 or $70 or however much it was to make 110,000. And by the time I saw this tweet and then clicked on the Indiegogo link, it was over 110. So congratulations to her for reaching that milestone. Snuggy's looking forward to Downcast 4. Snuggy is also broken 2. Nefarious says he hasn't received his God's Hand yet. Not sure. Did you get it with the Justice City Chronicles? Because I know they're working on it. Like I said, I just got mine on. Mine came Friday. Eric says he received Dwarfs vs. Lions and he enjoyed it. It's a goofy and fun book. I received mine. Haven't read it. I like the package. The story looks kinda too weak to me, but I think that was kind of expected, and it looks like it has a bunch of in-jokes, which I'll enjoy reading because 'cause I'm sure I'll get the in-jokes. Not sure how much, how much those that aren't in the know will enjoy that. Let's see. So, yeah, Nefarious says he backed the Wolfpack tier. Yeah, so it's, Wolfpack, I think, is one of the bigger ones with a shirt and such, right, Nef? I'm not 100% sure, but that's probably coming. Let's see. Nicholas says he just read the newest She. It's a great book. He followed Tucci here, and that's how he found CG. The newest She, that the because he got what did he come out? He came out with another one, which I don't think has finished yet. The one that had the Roquefort cover. I don't think we've gotten that one yet. I think you're talking about the one before. Mrs. G says he's still looking forward to Tropical Magics from Pedro. I did get that, but yeah, I'm not sure what the latest update to that one is either. Sometimes I won't look at the updates to tell you the truth unless it's something that I know is late, and then I'm just kind of like, okay, what are we looking at for a time frame now? Uh, so yeah, and at first this is no story to DVL. It's just a funny romp watching all of your friends die. Uh, Eric says it is another one. Fiendish is another one he really liked. The monsters of coolness storytelling was paced nicely. Yeah, I remember we did a review on that on Jeremy's channel, Lord Crackhead. What was it? Me, him, and Vanessa did it. It was a fun time. It was a nice book. I really like the fact that she did the black and white. That was the one I backed. I think we all backed that one. That's why we did it quite a while ago. I am a little disappointed that she's not having a black and white version this time round. I love her grayscale. She does grayscale so well. It would have been nice to have the cohesiveness or, the matchy matchy of book one, book two. But sounds like she's not doing it this time, but she might offer an artist edition. Uh, oh, so it was the newest one. So he sent out the digital version already. Okay. I didn't back it, so I did back the omnibus, so I think with She, I might wait until like, omnibuses and trade paperbacks or something like that. American Comics Company says Godlike has good marketing of character development interest. That's my appeal to getting it. And then Mrs. Good Stuff says DVL is hilarious. Yeah, I think we all find it hilarious because, we're kind of in the know. I'm kind of curious if you were to give it to somebody that's not in the know, how they would look at it. But anyways, all right, guys. I think that's about it. Not sure if you guys have any other questions. I'm pretty sure I'll see you guys next week. This time, I know the chat. We did the chat at 7 o'clock last night. We're gonna do the chat at 7 o'clock Saturday night coming up. It was a good time for those of us that are getting older to stay awake, as in me. So hopefully we can have you guys join us again there. And I should be back here. I'm not sure if I'll be doing a solo, if I'll get some guest hosts, if I'll convince Jim to change his mind. Um, but I am a hard person to work with. So, all right. Anyways, take care, guys. See you guys in the chat. Have a good day. Bye.